This is a Fox News Alert. I'm Brett Baer. We are coming to you tonight from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and Museum in Cleveland, Ohio. 2 nights from now, we will host the first Republican presidential candidate debates of the 2016 campaign season. We can now announce the 10 candidates who will appear on stage for the primetime debate Thursday night, and the 7 who will be invited to the earlier debate on the same stage here in Cleveland. Anyone on either stage could be President of the United States. I'm joined by my colleagues and co-moderators, Megyn Kelly from New York and Chris Wallace from Washington, to make the announcement. Okay, guys, the positioning of candidates, as we've talked about on the stage, correlates with their position in the average of polls. In the first spot, directly center stage, businessman, billionaire Donald Trump. This straight-talking approach skyrocketed him to the head of the polls, surprising some. After Trump, you have former Florida Governor Jeb Bush, seen early as a front-runner. Now it's a different situation with 17 candidates declared. Next to Trump on the other side, Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker came in at 10.2% in the polls. And next to Bush on the other side, former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee. And in the 5th spot, newcomer to politics, neurosurgeon Dr. Ben Carson. We should point out the 5 polls included in the average were conducted by the following organizations: Bloomberg, CBS, Fox News, Monmouth University, and Quinnipiac University. Megyn.
Coming in the next 5, and this is where the real drama has been, because the question has been who will make it into the 10th position and appear on the primetime debate stage with the Fox News anchors at the debate. The list begins Ted Cruz. He's at 5.4%, Senator Ted Cruz of Texas. Senator Marco Rubio also coming in at 5.4%. Senator Rand Paul at 4.8%. Governor Chris Christie at 3.4%, and the 10th participant who will appear on stage at the Fox News debate this Thursday night is Governor John Kasich with 3.2%. The governor of Ohio, which will be the state in which the debate is held, that edges out Governor Rick Perry, who had been in that position up until recently but did not average into the top 10, according to these polls that include over 2,400 interviews contained within 5 polls that the statisticians have looked at and appear to believe that John Kasich will take that 10th position. Chris Wallace?
Well, it is going to be a fascinating debate, the primetime debate at 9 p.m. Obviously, the stunning news, although we've kind of gotten used to it in the last week or two, Donald Trump, the billionaire developer, is going to be front and center in the prime seat as the leader, the front runner at this point, for the Republican presidential nomination, and then flanked by the other 2 top-tier candidates who also were in double digits, Jeb Bush and Scott Walker, and that is a very interesting, you talk about odd couple, an odd trio, the 3 of them. I think it's also interesting just looking at that group to see that the 2 senators who a lot of people thought would be in the top tier, Marco Rubio and Ted Cruz, are not. They're back in the pack at about 5–6%. And then the interesting news, as you pointed out, John Kasich, the governor of Ohio, where this debate is going to be held, jumping into the top tier, announced very late, got a kind of a post-announcement bounce, and he's made it onto the stage for the primetime debate. Now, there is going to be an earlier debate, 5 p.m. Eastern. The candidates invited to be on stage for the 5 p.m. debate include Rick Perry. He finished 11th. But he will be in the #1 position for the earlier debate. Rick Santorum, another person who ran in 2012. Both of them, at least so far, have not caught on. Bobby Jindal, the current governor of Louisiana. Carly Fiorina, the only woman in the pack, former CEO of Hewlett-Packard. Lindsey Graham, senator from South Carolina, running very much on a foreign policy platform of engagement, hawkish. George Pataki, former governor of New York, and the former governor of Virginia, Jim Gilmore, who also ran previously and at this point is well under 1%. You guys, your thoughts about that group?
Well, I tell you, it's going to be interesting. Bill Hemmer and Martha MacCallum, our colleagues, will be running the show from 5 to 6 p.m. Eastern Time. And again, it's important to point out that any of those candidates could bump up later on and be in a different position in a different debate. From 9 to 11, the focus will be on those 10 on stage. And we've been working in that cocoon of moderators, guys, to come up with those questions to try to take them off the talking points, Megan.
I think that the 5 o'clock exchange will be interesting because those are the folks who really need to sling some arrows. They want to get out of those lower polling positions and into the top tier. And so there may be some sparks flying. However, you know, all the marbles are going to be out beginning at 9 p.m. Eastern on Thursday night when the top tier candidates are going to have to fight to see who's in that top position. I think, you know, Donald Trump, many people thought he was a flash in the pan and that his poll numbers would fade already. And he has proven that he has staying power and has a significant section of the Republican electorate behind him. So he's obviously going to be fair game for those other GOPers up there, many of whom are already saying they're not going to attack. And he's saying he's not going to attack. But the three of us sitting right here all know, yes, they are. They are too.
It'll be fun. It'll be interesting. I'm warming it up for you. I know you guys are coming in tomorrow. We're at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame tonight, and it'll be interesting at the Q. Incidentally, also the site of the RNC convention, July 2016. Last thoughts, Chris?
Well, I think one of the points you made is absolutely essential, and that is, yes, there's the primetime debate and the earlier debate, but this is still, what, almost 7-8 months before the people actually start voting in Iowa. So this is an opportunity, these two debates, to sort out this enormous field of 17, and I agree with you. Some of the people that are in the top tier will fall back into the second tier, and some of the people in the second tier will come forward. And you know, people, we don't want to make it the Donald Trump show, but it is. Everybody is fascinated that he is the front runner for the nomination now, and as opposed to these other, most of them career politicians, except for Ben Carson and Carly Fiorina, you know, we just don't quite know how Donald Trump, will he be the bombastic reality show star, or will he, because he's now got a lead to protect, be a more conventional politician? We'll see on Thursday night.
Megan, we'll see you tonight at 9 p.m. for the Kelly File, and we'll see you both here in Cleveland tomorrow.
Well,
thanks.
I'll tell you one thing, Brett. I'll tell you one thing. The one thing I'm disappointed about is that somehow Huckabee landed in the top 10, and as the viewers all know, I'm really hoping I don't have to actually introduce him. Had a little trouble with his name.
We won't go back to that moment. We won't go back to that moment.
It's a family show. It's a family show.
She's just kidding, Governor. She's just kidding. Okay.
Yeah,
we'll see
he knows
guys.
that.
Well, listen, Cleveland will be the center of the political universe for the first time, really, in the next few days. And, of course, you're seeing right here crews setting up the debate stage, very busy at Quicken Loans Arena, home of LeBron James and the NBA's Cleveland Cavaliers. When we get done with the arena, they'll tear everything down and get ready for the next big show, the Motley Crue final tour. Same place. How about that? Debate to Motley Crue. Now that the jockeying for debate assignments is over, the candidates are focusing on preparation. Chief political correspondent Carl Cameron tells us tonight from Washington the methods of preparation vary.
The Southern Baptist Convention, the nation's largest gathering of Christian conservatives, invited the entire 2016 GOP field. Only two took part. Jeb Bush appeared in person and won applause when asked about Planned Parenthood's sale of body parts from aborted fetuses.
And the next president should defund Planned Parenthood.
Marco Rubio pre-taped a two-way satellite interview. 15 others were no-shows. Barnstorming across New Hampshire, John Kasich turned questions about Thursday's Fox debate in his home state of Ohio back to Granite State voters who will decide the nation's first primary.
These debates matter, but these elections are won in the trenches. They're won with the folks out here.
Most of the field did take part in a high-speed New Hampshire cattle call with 5-minute interviews last night. Donald Trump skipped it, telling the sponsoring newspaper it was because he didn't expect their endorsement. His absence focused attention on Bush. Kasich used Bush's Right to Rise slogan to knock Bush's economic goal of 4% growth as too focused on the well-off.
I think it's very important that with economic growth comes responsibility and ability to help people who live in the shadows. Our whole purpose has got to be to give everybody a sense that the American dream is alive, that we all can rise.
I'm a new fresh face versus a name from the past. I'm someone from outside of Washington with a proven track record.
Several tested out new Obama-Clinton zingers.
I'm fluent in Clinton speak. When he says, Bill says, I didn't have sex with that woman, he did. And when she tells us, trust me, you've got all the emails that you need, we haven't even scratched the surface.
Give Bernie Sanders credit. At least he's honest enough to call himself a socialist. Hillary Clinton, President Obama, they're no better. They're just not honest enough to call themselves socialists.
Short appearances last night may help some prepare for Thursday's Fox debate when answers will be time limited to 1 minute. Ted Cruz may have an edge as a Princeton Hall of Fame debater with several individual and team national championships. Cruz, Rubio, and Rand Paul appeared via satellite from D.C., where they were fighting unsuccessfully to pass Paul's legislation to defund Planned Parenthood.
And this morning, Rand Paul suggested if Democrats or the president continue to block defunding Planned Parenthood, it could end up running the country into yet another government shutdown. Brett?
All right, Carl, thank you. The Republican candidate debates will be held Thursday here in Cleveland, as we mentioned. The first event begins at 5 Eastern Time with my colleagues Bill Hemmer and Martha McCallum. Coverage of the primetime debate starts at 8:50 Eastern Time. Set the DVR. Fox exhibit inside the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. A lot of cool stuff in here about the history of rock and roll and its tie to Cleveland. We're here for presidential politics this week, obviously. One interesting tidbit in here. In 1980, Joe Walsh of the Eagles and the James Gang ran for president. It was kind of a joke, but you see he has a bumper sticker. We'll be taking it easy here at Special Report. Returning after the break from Cleveland.